Okay, we're recording.
All right. Hello, third graders. I'm Elise Harvin, Artistic Director of the Children's Theater Troupe, and today we're going to do a Q&A with a lot of the production team and the cast of Adelaide in the Fairyland. And so I'll be hosting, and all of these beautiful people will answer these questions. Can everyone introduce themselves?
Yes, I'm Hannah Fordham. I was the mom, Queen Adair, and Cordelia in the show. I am also CTT's technical director, and I was the props manager for the show.
I'll go next. My name is Jade Hensel, and I played Adelaide.
I'm Harvey. I played Ellis.
Hi, I'm Maggie, and I played Daisy.
I'm Allie Bilbrow. I designed the costumes. I was the costume designer.
I'm Abby Smithwick.
Hi, I'm Emma. I'm the assistant director.
And I'm Mecca. I am the director.
Nice. So we'll go ahead and get started. So my first question this evening is, who are all the people involved in the show, including people who are here and are not here as well?
I can talk about this because I kind of headed up the whole technical side of the show. So you've already heard about everyone who just introduced themselves. We also had three other cast members. We had Rylan Pugh, Houston Van Landingham, and Maddie No. Were other three cast members. You saw them in the show. We have another costume designer, Caroline Calhoun. We have two stage managers, Osa and Alice, who did a lovely job taking down blocking notes and other design notes during our rehearsals. Let me think. We had a lovely video editor, Mary Goodwin. She's been editing our 1 hour version of our film and the 20-minute version that you've watched. And she's done a lovely job. We had a PR manager, that would be Josie Smith. She designed the poster and posted all of our graphics on social media. I'm trying to make sure I'm not forgetting anyone. We had a film crew who came out and helped us film all of our scenes. That consisted of Sarah Neal, Hannah Barron, and Molly Robertson. And they all did a lovely job, put in so much time out of their day for no pay or anything, just came and hung out with us and helped us film some lovely theater. So I think I got everyone. Hopefully I'm not missing anyone.
Cool. Yeah, it takes a lot of people to put on a show.
It really does. It takes an army.
All right, our next question is, can elementary schoolers do theater, and how?
I can talk on this one. So I'm a music education major, and so my goal in life is to teach elementary schoolers music. So there's plenty of ways elementary schoolers can do theater. Sometimes there's community programs, and sometimes even, I don't know if y'all's program has like a music class, but sometimes your music teachers will have you do little shows, or sometimes you'll just sing songs from musicals. There's stuff like that. But if you have a community theater, I strongly encourage you to pursue that if that's something you're interested in.
That's so cool, Maggie. I actually didn't know that about you. What was the funniest part of working on this show? This will be interesting.
I definitely want to answer this one because for me, the funniest part had to be the scene with the stimphlids where we had the birds flying all around us, and we had like little swords in our hands trying to fight the birds. So I thought that was really funny, and then I ended up falling, and it was just really fun to do with to do that scene with Harvey and Maggie. So I had a lot of fun with that, and it was so funny. We could not stop laughing.
Also, I think one of the birds broke. It was either during rehearsal or while we were filming. That was really funny. And so we were like, well, that's so scary, man. I guess we killed it early. Uh-oh. So that was a really kind of interesting. We were like, pause, we gotta fix this. But it was fun.
That's funny.
I also thought it was super funny. We have so many bloopers from the show that didn't make it in. Um, but it was so funny just joking around with the whole cast behind the scenes, and like when something would go wrong in a take and we would all just like bust out laughing. Just getting to know everyone on the cast and in the crew. Everyone's so funny.
That's
One
so
of my favorite parts was the troll bridge, where one of our actors had the most hilarious accent during it that kind of came out of nowhere, and we were all cackling. It was so funny.
The show had a lot of great accents. That was quite fun to watch. Well, why did you pick this show to write and perform?
I can speak on the first part, on the writing part. So I chose to write about fairies because when I was working with the club who was putting on the show, they told me to write about a folktale or like a fairy tale or a myth. And I was just trying to think about what would be the most fun to talk to and like what world to live in. And I thought it would just be really fun to escape to a fairy world right now and to speak with fairies.
What about the performing part? Why did you decide to perform this show? For those of you who took part in performing it.
I know for me, I've known Abby for a little bit. We actually went to high school together. And I was like, oh, Abby wrote a show. I gotta be in it because she's so talented. So for me, I just heard that Abby was writing it, and I was like, I gotta do this one. And I saw it was about fairies, and I'm like, I double gotta do this one. So it was just a perfect match.
Yeah, and for me, I just wanted to participate in something, and it seemed really fun. And also, after like reading the script and seeing like it was kind of an escape from the pandemic, and I think that's something all of us are trying to do in any way we can. So even just like pretending and having fun with people and performing a play like in a fairy world, I just thought that was so much fun. So I really had fun with it.
The reason I tried out for the show, first of all, I was in a show and it got canceled, and so I was really upset, and I wanted to do, I wanted to keep doing theater, and I heard about this show, and I was reading through the cast list of what I want to do, and I auditioned for a couple roles, and I saw Daisy. I was like, it's a knight and it's a girl, and I was like, yes, and I just kind of had fun with it, and now we're here.
That's so fun. It's a good show for this time for sure. Next question. What was it like directing the show? And can you explain what directing means?
Okay. So directing the show was so much fun. Like it was not a job at all. Like I'm directing and working with my friends, like forming connections with you guys, and has been so much fun. So it was really fun. And I guess my definition of directing is honestly just taking all the talent that you are, I want to say blessed with, like the talent that I was like given with this cast and the production team, taking it and just forming something that's even more beautiful. Just being able to like take in everyone's different talent and what everyone has to offer and just make it work and fall into one. And yeah, so I just think directing is honestly just starting off with a plan and knowing that it's not necessarily going to go in the direction that you want it to, but it's going to be way better than how you thought it would be. That's really what I think directing is about. Just being open-minded.
That's so sweet, Mecca. Emma, I know you're the assistant director. Do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Sure. It's a lot like watching a bunch of your friends play pretend. And then as the director, you can be like, I liked it, but what if you did this instead? So I love that part about it, where we just get to be kind of silly and try new things, but also like tell a story along with it. So that's the director's role. And I think that's the main part of directing, just being like, let's try something different that could also work.
That's so fun. It was so fun watching you two work together. Y'all had such an energy together. It was really cool. So next question is, how did you film this show?
All right, yes, filming. So we the majority of the show takes place in a magical, mystical fairyland that is named Fairy. And so we chose to film it outside. A lot of it in, if you know UGA campus at all, in the Founders Garden, because there's a lot of foliage and things outside, so that we could make different settings that looked semi like mystical and magical. So we filmed the majority of the show outside, which is always a struggle because it's nearly impossible to block out outside noises. You can't control the weather. So many outside influences that you can't control. But we filmed all of the scenes with different backgrounds. So we chose like a different location in the Founders Garden to film, but in steady shot. So we didn't move the camera during the scene. We just kept it in one shot. And then we had a separate mic that was separate from the camera's microphone to record audio on so that we could get better audio for the take. And that's how we recorded stuff.
Cool. Yeah, it was a really cool process. I'm excited to see it. How did you design all of the costumes? That's our next question.
I was one of the costume designers. Also, preface, if y'all have seen me turning my camera on and back off again, sorry about that. I'm slightly sick, so I've been trying to filter what y'all see. Not COVID, though, thankfully. But designing the costumes was a really interesting process for this show. Me and my co-designer, Caroline Calhoun, neither of us had really designed for a show before, so it was kind of a learning curve for both of us. And then especially we had a very tight timeline for the show in particular that it made it very interesting. We just met a lot for like 1 week, and we would like read the script, then meet, read the script, then meet again, and kind of just keep touching base on what we were thinking, like what are the personalities of these characters, and like how can we display that through their costumes, and obviously how can we also display other things like their jobs in the show and this quest that they go on, and how can we kind of incorporate that visually while also sticking to a kind of like dreamland, very light, because that was what we were both thinking, and what Abby, our wonderful playwright, also gave us some direction on, that she had that vision for the show as well. So it's very much that we were just trying to craft this kind of world for the play. And throughout the process of just meeting together, we just came up with a list of the different costume pieces that we needed, saw if anybody could provide them. We wound up getting some things from thrift stores and like altering them. I know that the green robe that you see on Karis at the end, that took a lot of altering, and we were very down to the wire on that piece and some of the other ones. But it came together, I think, pretty nice for it being both of our first show to design, and on such a tight timeline and budget. So it was really fun to design, though, and kind of take some creative liberties with how we make each character unique and part of this land, this dreamland, at the same time.
Cool. That's really exciting to hear about the inside journey of everything that it took to get to the final product, the show. Next question is it hard memorizing a bunch of lines?
You would not believe. It is so hard. This is actually my first show that I wasn't in ensemble, so I've never had this many lines before. And it was such a quick turnaround. I think we had the script for 2 weeks. I don't know, something like that. So like, imagine like knowing a whole show backwards, forwards in 2 weeks, and we didn't have it done in 2 weeks, but we sure got close. But there were a few times where we had to refilm a few things where we were like, I don't know the line. I know there's one scene where Jade and I were like, yeah, take 4, baby, let's go. But yeah, it was really, really hard, but it was so worth it in the end. I'm really happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, me too. And there were like 50 or so pages. So it was a lot if you think about it, but it really just takes practice and practicing with people. Like we had several rehearsals where we just practiced back and forth. So it just takes practice, but in the end, it's good. So, and it's worth it, like Harvey said.
Well, that's so fun. Our next question this is our second to last question, is how often did you rehearse for the show?
We rehearsed 3 times a week, and usually rehearsal took around an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending. And then on Sundays, we had a little long rehearsal, like 3 hours or so. So yeah, because like Harvey said, we were only rehearsing for like 2-3 weeks, so we had to get as much time together as we could. But yeah, 3 days out the week. We try not to stress the actors out too much because we have, other things that are going on, but a nice healthy balance.
That's definitely a time commitment, being in a show. And last question, this is a sweet question. Why do you love theater?
I'll answer, I guess. Or Hannah, you go first.
Okay, I can go first. I love theater because I love creating art, and as much as I'm a set designer, so I love like painting and drawing and things like that too as a form of art, but I also love creating like a story of art, and so that's why I really love theater, is I love creating like this story and this world that I can like bring other people into. And so when I'm performing, I'm like bringing the audience into this story with me, and I'm like, hey, come along on this journey with me. So.
Yeah, I was gonna pretty much say the same thing. It's so fun just to be able to like create something new or to like try to be someone else, but it's like you're not becoming that person, but you are to like tell a story. It's like hopping into like a storybook and like creating it up on a stage. So it's like it's really cool. And it's so fun getting to know people in the midst of the process, because you get so close to the people that you're acting with because you just have so much fun. So I love you guys.
I really enjoy like taking on a different persona. I think that's super fun. It was like Emma said, it's just like you're playing pretend. But there's a script and you just get to do whatever you want with it, and it's so fun and rewarding. It's like you when you play a character, it's like you make a new friend inside of yourself that you didn't really know was there. So I don't know, it's nice.
Yeah, very similar story for me, except I wasn't actually in theater until college. So it was different for me because a lot of people I know, like I was intimidated at first because I'm a theater major. I was intimidated at first. A lot of my peers have been doing this since they were like in middle school, and I did it in middle school, but like middle school theater just wasn't it wasn't the same at my middle school. At least we didn't do a whole lot the way that I've now learned that a lot of theaters do things and that college does things. And I really got into it just because I was a fashion major. I still am as well. because I wanted to design costumes because, like Hannah said, and like a lot of people have said, I wanted to tell the story, and fashion just wasn't giving me that. I love designing clothes. I love doing art as well, but I really love the meaning behind it, which I feel like theater just has such a deep meaning behind it. And I especially love shows like this because especially in like dark times, like now a lot of people aren't necessarily like at where they used to be. It's kind of nice to be able to take a break and like watch a show or be part of a show and realize that, things are going to be okay. And I feel like theater just kind of gives me that little uplift and gives me that reminder that everything does work out in the end.
Kind of
I'm
along
so
those lines. Oh, sorry.
no, you're totally good, Abby. You can go ahead.
Okay. Kind of along those lines, I love how theater like brings different people with all their different ideas together, and everyone brings their own strengths to the table. So there are some people who are really good at acting or really good at directing, and then there are other people who are really good at building or designing costumes, and they bring together all their strengths to create something new for everyone to enjoy.
Similar to Allie, like I was not able to do any theater until the summer after I graduated from high school, and I was a band kid. I still am a band kid, music kid, but uh, um, so I saw all my friends, most of my friends were in theater, and I saw all of them do all these amazing shows and create these amazing stories that I created like every single one of their shows. It was so good, and I was like, I'd sung all my life, and I was like, wow, that looks really fun. I wonder if I can do the acting part of it too. And I tried out for a show after high school, and I made it, and I was like, this is really awesome. I love doing both of these things, and so I love musical theater, but this is the first show I've ever done that's just theater, and it's been so fun because, like everyone said, it's just pretend, and like you can be whoever you want to be when you're acting.
My favorite part is the people you meet along the way. Like you can always go into a process not knowing anybody, much like I did in starting this show, and come with so many new friends and like connections and like a whole experience that you can share with other people that you always like, you remember when we did this? And I love that all the time.
Yeah, my favorite thing about theater is like what everyone's been saying, honestly, it's just the heart. Like I've never worked with people who genuinely love everything about what they do. Like there's always heart in theater. There's always like passion for what people are doing and everyone wants to grow and improve. And it's just that community that's just so much fun. And it's like even if you go in as an actor, you can like dabble into different things like directing or like set designing. So it's like you can do whatever you want in theater, and I just love that freedom that it gives you.
Wow, that's so good. Oh man, theater really does. It's just such an incredible community, and it means so much. And I mean, I've never been part of a show where it's just kind of like, I mean, that was so so. It's like, it's always like, oh my gosh, that was just the best. And it kind of fills your soul up. But yeah, so those are all our questions today. Thank you all for participating in this Q&A. And thank you, third graders, for watching our show and kind of going along on this journey with us. And we hope you have a great rest of your school year. Bye.